This lesson on David finally being made king over all Israel according to God's plan is the conclusion of the David unit and the transition to the unit on Jesus' kingdom. What happened to King Saul? How did David actually become king? Our key verse is 1 Peter 5:6. Humble yourselves under God's mighty hand, that he may lift you up in due time. As a result of this lesson, we want our students to know that although Saul was tall and strong in battle, and many people followed him and got nice things, and David was a humble shepherd who had to hide in caves while he was persecuted, in the end, Saul's life ended in disgrace, and David was honored as God's king over the whole nation. How do we develop these lesson details so that our students can see the contrast between following Saul and following David? In the approach, I pretend that we are a soldier. We're trying to decide whose side to join, either Saul's or David's. We're going to look at the beginning, the middle, and the end of the story that we've already been learning about and try to figure out why someone might join one side or the other. At the beginning, why did Saul seem like a good choice for king? The students might remember that he was tall, strong in battle, and people liked him. What about David? When we first see him, what is he doing? He's young, he's taking care of sheep, playing the lyre. He's not rich. Why would God choose David instead of Saul? I write on the board that Saul said, "my own way," when God told him what to do. But David said, "your way," when God told him what to do. In the middle of the story, after David has fought Goliath, everyone now knows that David is a good warrior. What do we know about Saul? And why might someone still think that choosing his side is a better choice? Answers might include, well, Saul has a crown, he has money, he has 3,000 soldiers, he gives gifts to his loyal followers. He is trying to kill David, and he might harm someone who sides with David. Why might someone think following David is a better decision? What does David have to offer? He has to run away, he has to hide in caves, he has only 600 men. It is not easy to be a follower of David right now. Now we come to the end of the story. I storytell how the Philistines gather for battle in great number, and Saul is terrified. He wants to know what will happen, but God is silent. So he goes to a witch for help. I do not go into the details of their conversation or of Samuel, but I share that going to a witch is strictly forbidden by God, and that Saul has turned to Satan for help. Using flashcards, I storytell that Saul and his sons are killed in battle. Saul falls on his own sword, and then his body is beheaded and displayed publicly as a Philistine trophy. He ends in disgrace. For David's part, he mourns when he hears the news of Saul's death. Then he inquires of God for what to do. His relatives make him king, but Saul's commander, Abner, fights against him for 7.5 more years until finally, yay, David is king over all the tribes. God gives David honor and exalts him as king over all. I conclude the story by telling how David was promised by God that he would have a kingdom that would last forever. Sure enough, David's son became king after David died, then his grandson, then his great-grandson, and his great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-great-grandson, until one day a king from David's line was born in Bethlehem, just like he had been. And I tell the students that they know his name. At this point, the students make the connection that Jesus is from David's kingly line. Jesus is God's king to rule over not just the tribes of Israel, but over all the nations of the world. In the conclusion, I point out that right now it is hard to follow Jesus, and people make fun of those who follow Jesus, just like it was hard to follow David. It might seem like those who don't follow Jesus have more nice things, but in the end, every knee will bow and every tongue will say that Jesus is Lord. It is worth following Jesus right now, even when it is hard. Many blessings as you teach God's Word.